Is the performance of young toddlers Aaryav Verma, as well as who is going to do the book reading of the same book, Aai and I, followed by an enactment, a short enactment by the team of Doon International School. So a huge round of applause for all the people who are gathered here, for all the performers, and a short introduction about the book. With lyrical prose and a tender touch, Aai and I is an empowering story of the bond between a mother and a daughter, and of the little one finding her own identity as she finds herself no longer looking the same as her mother. Mamta Nainy captures with elan Adya's innocence, impatience, and dilemma, and Sanket Petkar's vibrant, gorgeous artwork brings to life the nuanced seesaw of the child's emotion in this Maharashtrian household. Let me now introduce the author of this very book, Miss Mamta Nainy. Miss Mamta Nainy requesting Mamta ma'am to please come on the stage. Ms. Mamta Nainy is a writer and editor based in New Delhi. She has authored over 30 books for children, including A Brush with Indian Art, that won the Hindu Young World Good Books Award 2019, and Mutarsi's Missing Teeth, that won the Pika Book Children's Choice Award 2019. She also works as a literary translator, translating primarily from English to Hindi, with several published works of translations. We welcome you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining the session. We also have with us Ms. Ratna Manucha. Ms. Ratna Manucha is an accomplished author with over 25 years' experience. She has over 30 published children's books to her credit, which go on to include an array of books on English grammar, English literature, short stories, and poetry. Ratna's books have found a mass appeal in the readership base, aged from 3 to 12 years. Her publications have been featured in leading national dailies, magazines, and the internet. She is the founder principal of Little Flower School, a premier preparatory school which she founded in 1996 in Dehradun. We welcome you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining the session. So I think the audience is now set to have a very fruitful and insightful discussion on the book Aai and I. So I hand it over to the panel. Please take over, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. After a hiatus of nearly 2 years when Valley of Words had to go online due to the pandemic, may I begin with saying how wonderful it is to see happy, smiling faces all around today. And it's just beautiful to have you with us. So thank you for coming. With an aim to children's creative interpretation after reading the 5 carefully selected shortlisted titles under the children's literature vertical of Valley of Words, the VoW team has added yet another feather to its cap, that is creative book reading, or enacting excerpts from these 5 shortlisted titles. The competition was open for all schools and held on 16th October, in which various schools participated with much fervor and enthusiasm. The performances were judged by an eminent jury. Later, after our conversation with the author, we will bring to you the brilliantly enacted excerpt from the award-winning picture book titled Aai and I by Mamta Nainy and beautifully illustrated by Sanket Petkar. But for now, let's be in conversation with the brilliant author. Welcome, Mamta.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's a very cliched question, but it's raining awards for you. 2 in 2019 and 1 this year. How does it feel? I just have to ask you.
It feels absolutely wonderful, and I think it's a welcome affirmation for both me, my publisher, the illustrator of the book, Sanket Pedkar. I feel less marginal as a creator, especially a creator of children's literature. And I'm very, very grateful to the organizers for really recognizing children's literature as a major category in the Value of Word Awards. So thank you so much.
You know, that is important because I always feel that readers start early. So we have to catch them young, have to develop them early on in life and develop their attitude for reading rather than just involving the grown-ups. So this is definitely a very welcome inclusion by VoW. And we have to thank the curator for that. You know, when you wrote this book, Aai and I, it's a beautiful book, which you can see later on. What kind of an internal dialogue did you have with yourself? What are the thoughts that went on? And what made you choose this particular topic? Okay. And did the pandemic have anything to do with it? I wanted to ask that.
No, actually the book was in the works for a good, I think, 4.5, 5 years. It came out last year, but Richa and I had been working on it for quite some time. And I think initially I was finding it difficult to kind of capture the complex emotions that the central character of the story is kind of grappling with in simple words. Because it's a story for children, we wanted to capture it in simple words and give her a voice that felt very, very honest and truly hers. So that was kind of difficult. And initially I had written it as a short story and I shared it with my brilliant publisher, Richa. And she thought that it had a sort of a narrative arc that could work for a picture book. So we would just look at it, we would make some changes, and then we'll keep it aside for a good 4-5 months. Then we'll again come back to it, we'll make changes, and then we'll again put it aside for a few months. So that went on. Then we got in touch with the illustrator, the brilliant illustrator, Sanket Pedkar. And then when the illustrations came in after that, also we spent a lot of time with the illustrations and the text together. And every time we looked at the text, we felt, are we taking a balanced sort of an approach to the narrative? We wanted to take an honest look at the sadness and pain that is there in the story, but we also wanted to bring alive the heart of the story, the love and affection that Aaryav, the central character, has for her mother. So I think that is where we were struggling a little bit. But with the help of Richa, I think eventually it came through in the narrative.
So tell me something. You said it was a short story.
Yes.
So how many words exactly? And what was the readership base that you thought of when you wrote this story, the age group?
So I think wrote it for about 8 to 10-year-olds. And yeah, it was over 1,000 words, I think. And then we chopped it down to a picture book
Which is absolutely brilliant. I mean, that's brilliant. Absolutely. So the next question is also connected to that. The illustrator of the book. How much were you involved with the illustrations, or was it his perception of the book as he saw it, or the story as he saw it, and especially the features of the characters, or did you also have a part to play in that?
So Richa shared the rough samples with me. We had kind of sent the story to, I think, multiple illustrators, and we got illustration samples. And Sanket is very familiar with the Maharashtrian context. He is himself Maharashtrian. He lives in Nagpur. So he was very familiar with that milieu of the story. And no, there was absolutely no intervention from me. I think Richa was very much involved in the illustration process. But when I saw the illustrations, I was completely blown away because they were so beautiful and they were beyond what I had imagined for the story. And yeah, Sanket says that when he read the story, it kind of appeared to him as it was very visual, and it was more like a film, so he could visualize each and every scene. So I'm glad he feels that way. And yeah, I think illustrators, especially for picture books, I think picture books, we cannot talk about picture books without having the illustrators. So,
yes,
yeah.
They play such an important role. In fact, as you'll see these children enacting the play, the story. They are absolute replicas of what the picture book has,
Absolutely.
which is so beautiful.
A huge shout out to the school and the children
And
who
the
are
little
performing
children
today.
who will be coming on stage shortly. Now, again, connected to what we are talking about, it's a very touching story. When I read it, I had a lot of mixed gamut of emotions coming through my head. Some sad, some, like we discussed yesterday, that is it, good enough? Is it important for the children to learn about the sad happenings in our lives? So tell me, what made you, what was the inspiration behind this? You said it was a short story, but exactly what was in your mind when you decided to write this?
So I think it is difficult to say what really inspired the story because there wasn't a single incident or inspiration that sort of inspired this story. But I think I've always been thinking about, like, it's a constant quest that I have about identity, what makes us belong to something or someone, what is personhood. So I think all those things that I constantly think about these things. So I think that kind of made its way into the story. And yeah, but cancer, as far as cancer, the idea of disease is concerned, the book was never meant to be a discourse on cancer. It was just supposed to be a backdrop for the story. How we kind of visualized it was that it is a story which is about Aarya's engagement with what makes her who she is. And how over the course of the story she discovers that there's no singular way to identify with something or someone. Identity is very, very dynamic. So it can be ever evolving, and yet it could continue to be. So that was the main idea with which we worked on this story. And cancer was just supposed to be somewhere, because we wanted the psychological and philosophical dilemmas that she has in the story to come from a physical perplexity, and we wanted a certain disease to be there. Yeah. And that...
Which was there in your earlier story as well.
It was. Yeah.
So again, some people, some parents or some educators might just argue, that it's too early for the children to deal with such a sensitive topic like cancer. As it is, life is difficult enough with enough trauma going around. So why are we in storybooks like we discussed yesterday? Why not just make them happy and full of rainbows and toadstools and cupcakes rather than helping them or introducing them to a traumatic kind of a topic? What would you have to say to such people?
No, like I said yesterday, children are living, breathing, feeling the same world we are. Like, they are experiencing the same things. And just out of our own fear of making them sad or confused, we try to iron out all the complexities that make up our world.
I think that's a very good thing what you said, our own fears.
Yes.
I would agree with that, yes.
Yeah, so I think they will have to kind of face these experiences some way or the other. We can't really shield them from all these things. We can't protect them from all these things. But we can be there with them through these experiences, and maybe we can help them make sense of these their own feelings and emotions, and we can maybe even offer them a perspective. So I think there's nothing that we shouldn't be talking about to our kids. So I think it is important that we talk about everything with our kids. Yeah.
All right. Well said. I'm sure the audience would like to know what other books you have written, because we did mention that you have written a lot of books and you've got a lot of awards. But would you like to talk about some of the other books that you have written which we don't know about?
Okay, so I've written a couple of picture books for Tulika. There's one called A Sari for Ammi, which is set in the in Rajasthan, in the Kota district, and it talks about the weavers who make the Kota Doria saris. And there's another one that I've written for Tulika, which is called Leela's Loose Tooth. I've been working on a series of picture books on some of the greatest creative icons of our times, people who are not just larger-than-life figures, but people who really kind of followed their dreams and let their true selves bloom. So one of those books is already out in the market. It's on Annapurna Devi. And there are two more, I think, coming out by the end of the month. There's one on Usha Uttup, and there's another one on Rabindranath Tagore. Then I've written a couple of non-fiction books for Penguin, A Brush with Indian Art, which is on the history of Indian art. There's another one which is called 10 Indian Art Mysteries that have never been solved. That's again a non-fiction book. Yeah, so these are...
So coming to this book on art, I was always very curious when I read about this. I knew I had to ask you this question. Are you an artist too?
No, I'm not. I doodle, but I'm not really an artist.
So what exactly made you write this book, A Brush with Indian Art, and what is it about? That's my question. I'm curious.
Okay, so when I was in school, the art classes usually meant free periods. So we would be given a topic and we would just draw on it, or the teacher would draw some scenery on the blackboard and we would just copy it. And then after college, I joined the National Museum. I did history of Indian art, and then I realized that there are so many stories that children need to know. It's the visual side of history, which is very, very interesting. So I thought of doing this book, which is called A Brush with Indian Art, which is on the history of Indian art, and it talks about all the exciting things that are there in Indian art. And 10 Indian Art Mysteries is also about that. So how the Buddha looked, for example. Nobody knows how the Buddha exactly looked, but we all have this image that we are so familiar with. So how did we arrive at that image, for instance? So all these things are there in this book on art.
My next question to you is, which I think is, with Richa sitting there especially, it's going to be difficult for you to answer this. Which is your favorite book and why?
Okay. Okay, any book?
Any book, which is closest to your heart. As an author, they're all your babies.
Okay.
So, but there are one or two pieces of work which you do feel is very close to you. At least I do. So you tell me yours.
I think it's always the one that you're working on. I think that's...
Maybe.
Yeah, because these are just ideas in your mind, right? So they don't have a limited, if the books that have been published are all limited by their physical forms.
They're out.
So they can take whatever form they want. So I think, yeah. But I think Aai and I is also very, very special to me. Just because of the kind of process that we went through during the making of this book was a kind of an eye-opener. And I think after working with Richa on this book, I realized that there are certain stories that need time to marinate. You just have to put them aside.
Yes.
And they will eventually take a shape, a form of their own. Yeah. So I think that's why I think, and working with Richa, she's such a warm person. So it is always a pleasure working with Richa.
So, I always feel that when you're writing a book, it's almost like a pregnancy, a baby is coming out. And at least I felt that with one of my earlier stories. And the way you said, you worked on it for so long and you keep working on it. And finally, when it's just out into the world, it's such a relief, and it's out into the world. And once it's published, you sort of learn to let go. It's only till the process is on, it's almost like the birth of a baby. I've always maintained that.
Yeah, I think we both just got tired of the story and we sent it out into the world with a lot of love and light.
And then it won an award. Several awards, yeah, right. Well done. So do you think you'll ever write a book for adults?
I mean, your question sort of reminds me of this famous quote by Maurice Sendak, where he says that I don't write for children, I just write and someone says that it's for children. So, but that's not really true in my case. I know that I am writing for children. But I think creators usually create works in the genre that saves them. So I feel picture books have saved me again and again. And there's this article that I was reading in I think Brain Pickings. It is written by Maria Popova, and where she says that picture books are actually miniature cartographies of meaning. They are like existential philosophies in disguise. So I completely agree with that. I think we do feel that picture books are for children, but actually they are not. They are full of philosophies. So I think I have benefited hugely by reading picture books, and that's why
So have I.
and even as a creator of picture book, I think what it demands from me is a balanced sort of a viewing of the world, where you look at what the world is and what it could be. So not shying away from all that is not happy about the world, but also offering children something which is worth their love and attention and offers a certain kind of hope. So I think which is something that I truly, truly believe in, and I enjoy writing in this sort of a format. So yeah,
So
but as I said, picture books are like completely age agnostic.
Never say never.
Yeah. And adults can also enjoy picture books. So I don't know, like I am writing for adults.
You are?
Yeah. So picture books are for adults as well. So
So this is like yesterday's program when we were talking about Mommy and Me. It's the same thing. Everyone thought it was a book for children, but the questions that came were all from adults, and I think we had a good, collection of adults who enjoyed the discussion. So anybody can read any kind of a book. I agree with her fully. And what is next on the anvil, Mamta?
So more writing, I hope. I'm working on a couple of picture books. Translation is something that I believe in and I think should happen in children's literature.
I'm sorry I'm interrupting you. Let's talk about your translation. How did that come about? Are you, you're writing in English, but are you equally good in Hindi too? Or you sort of...
Yes,
because translation is a more difficult piece of work.
Yeah, I think I'm more comfortable in Hindi. Hindi is a language that I dream in. So yeah, I'm working on a lot of translation projects, and I really feel that, like I said yesterday, a lot of the writers that I like, and a lot of themes and works that have stayed with me have come from translations. So I would really want to work in that space, and yeah, I'm translating a lot of books for children. So hopefully we'll see.
That's
something
lovely.
soon.
Do we have time for a few quick questions before we open it, or we let them do the bit now? Anybody from the audience who would like to talk to the author? Any questions?
I have no questions, but I'm here on behalf of my great granddaughter. So two of us are sitting here. She has bought that book, Mutasi's Missing Teeth. And it was such a, possession. And then she came and she says, Mutasi, she's a grandmama. So what I appreciate, and please give her a big round of applause, because so many languages. Now she's just talking to me about Tagore and beach mein ye Marathi hai, ye hai. Excellent. Par excellent. And myself is a dancer, so I can relate with your heart so well when you are saying this, that that everything is coming up and there's a philosophy which is behind it. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mamta.
Thank you,
God
Jamlo
bless.
aunty. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the topics she's chosen are all very offbeat and off the cuff and makes us think. I as a writer, I am a writer, I'm thinking that, okay, these are topics which can be discussed. So, yes, more
There's
power
this
to
famous
that.
quote by Bridget Smith where she says, children find themselves in the books they read. And when they read books, all kinds of books from all kinds of culture, they find themselves in those too. So I think it is absolutely important for children to see themselves in the books. So, yeah.
Yeah, one more, it's not a question, but as a curator, you need to understand, and I think you do, that your books are first handled and picked up by adults. And then it gets to the children.
That is
so,
such a lovely
so when you
point,
talked about,
yes.
Writing, and of course it's for children, but you have it in your at the back of your mind that yes, it is
Adults
the
are
adults
picking it
who
up.
do
That's
it.
beautiful.
Yes.
That's so true. I think we'll open it for the children now. Aai and I, the children who are all ready to come on stage, come on. We'll vacate it for you.
We first
Let's give them a
have-
big hand. Oh, we're having jam. Come. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ratna Manucha, as well as Ms. Mamta Nainy. It was indeed a very insightful and a very beautiful session, a very beautiful conversation. And to have the context as morose and as tabooed as cancer and to talk about a beautiful story of love and emotions of a little girl against that context is a very, very beautiful job that has been done by Miss Mamta. So thank you so much, ma'am. And now we have Team Doon International School, these young toddlers, these young and adorable toddlers who are going to enact Aai and I for all of you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you're all very excited, and so am I. Are these young children set? Are you all good? All good? Should we clear the stage for all of you? Sir, please table and the chairs. Can we get them out of the stage for now? Off the stage. Just one chair on the stage.
Long stay in the hospital. Aji, the grandmother, is also happy and relieved that Adya's mother is finally returning from the hospital. I will be back today. I remembered the day she left for the hospital. She told me that she'll be back before I have learned all my tables from 6 to 10. It'll just take a few weeks. Aji. Look, Adya, your mother is here. But what happened to her hair? Aji, I have so many things to tell you. I remember the beautiful hair I had. She must be missing her hair. I remember how Aji always told me I look just like my eye. Same little nose, delicate ears, big eyes, and thick long hair. Same to same. I, same to same. I have bought 2 caps. One for you and one for myself. But I don't need to put this on. Not even this. Do you remember those silky wigs? Should we buy 2, please? Adya, we are fine, just the way we are. Why did the doctors have to take away Ai's hair? I am angry with the doctors. I and Aji. I love your hair. And I love yours. Don't I look Just like my eye again, Aji. Same to same. But what if I's hair grows back and mine doesn't? Hair or no hair, you'll always have your eye in you. Always and forever. Thank you.
Thank you so much to these talented young students. Very, very beautifully enacted, and I think that we all enjoyed this little enactment that they did, right? A huge round of applause again for these young little children, so talented. Thank you so much. And now we have a book reading on Jamlo Walks by Aaryav Verma Ahluwalia from Mondrian High School. Okay. Sure. So we'll wait for 2 minutes for Aaryav. So we have, can we have a mic for Aaryav? So we have Mr. Aaryav Verma Ahluwalia from Mondrian High School with us. All right. Yeah, sure. You can take your book. All right. So he's going to do a book reading for all of us on the book Jamlo Walks. So Jamlo Walks by. So he's going to read the book, so you're going to know about the book. I do not need to share a book review, but definitely it's going to be a very, very exciting session for all of us again, right? Are we sure, Aaryav? You ready?
1 second.
1 second. We should give him 1 second. You can sit and read if you want. Great.
Now I can begin.
All right. So now Aaryav can begin, and we can have a huge round of applause for Aaryav.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Aaryav Verma Ahluwalia, and today I will be reading this beautiful book for you. Its title is Jamlo Walks. Author is Samina Mishra and illustrations are by Tariq Aziz. As you know, Jamlo Walks is a heartwarming story of a migrant child laborer who is only 12 years old. Her name is Jamlo Makram and she was working in the chili field of Telangana along with a lot of other laborers. But as you know, during the COVID lockdown, these workers were forced to walk from Telangana to Chhattisgarh. But that is 200 kilometers long. But this brave girl covered 100 kilometers in just 3 days. But sadly, just 55 to 60 kilometers away from home, she collapses, never to get up again. This book is dedicated to the memory of Jamlo. Her work is remembered if we want to create a society that is just and kind and equal, where everyone's voice matters, yours and mine too. So let's join Jamlo as she embarks upon her journey. Jamlo Walks by Samina Mishra. Illustrations are by Tariq Aziz. It is day 7 of the lockdown, and everyone says the skies are blue again. Jamlo carries a bag of chilies. The chilies are what she earned for harvesting the fields. Jamlo knows Ma will be happy to see them. She wishes she had earned more. Last year, Budharam Dada had returned to Aided with 2 sacks of chilies. But Jamlo's work was cut short and all she has is one cloth bag full. Jamlo holds on to the bag and walks. At the roadside stall, the man spreads dosa batter on the tawa. It sizzles. Jamlo watches. The man asks her where she's coming from and where she's going. Jamlo likes that his eyes widen in amazement when she tells him, "The road is long. Walk with some grown-ups." The man says as he hands her a tilka laddu from a glass jar. Jamlo eats the laddu as she walks past a turnoff that says Tadwai 15. Jamlo's chappal breaks. She is standing near Usu 20 milestone. She is tired and she thinks she will rest for a while. She lies under the shade of some sal trees. They stand straight like soldiers, thinks Jamlo. But it is hard to stand straight when you have been walking for the past 3 days. Some men walk past her, talking to each other. They are saying Corona kills, but bhai, so does hunger. Jamlo shuts her eyes, never to get up again. Sadly, that is the end of Jamlo. But before I leave the stage, my friends, you you start listening to another story, close your eyes and think. Would you like children like me and many others working in a shop, holding a kettle or a washcloth? Or would you rather see us playing in a playground or running, jumping, painting, free to enjoy our childhood? I hope it's the second option because I believe the evil practice of child labor should be discouraged by one and all.
Thank you so much, Aaryav. Indeed, a very, very beautiful book reading session that we had with Aaryav. And this story in itself is an eye opener for all of us. The pandemic had hit all of us hard, but it was harder for all of those who were there on the streets. And I think this story very beautifully portrays the same message. And the last message that was given by Aaryav, right? I think that has hit all of us again. Right? So thank you so much, Aaryav, and thank you so much to Team DIS as well. A huge round of applause again for all of you. And now I would like to call upon the stage Ms. Jyoti Dhawan to please do the felicitation ceremony. All right. So the first position in the book reading category has been bagged by Aaryav Verma Aluwalia. Congratulations, Aaryav. Aaryav Verma from Mondrian High School. Congratulations. Pardon? Mondrian House. All right. The Mondrian House School. House School. Yeah, all right. Congratulations. And may I now call upon the stage Team Doon International School for the beautiful enactment and securing the first position in enacting Aai and I. Congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to Team Doon International School. Thank you so much to all of you. Thank you. All right.
I congratulate Aaryav and Team Doon International for bringing these two books to life. In October, we had a creative book reading enactment competition, and we'd invited a few schools. And it was a delight to see how they brought those books to life with their various interpretations, with one creative reading you've just witnessed, and we also had mimes and puppet shows and various enactments. And what Aaryav has done today, I think no words can describe his emoting that book. Those words were, I think, enough. And hats off to these young children. And I'm so happy that we are getting them back to reading, and the editors and the writers we have here would celebrate that. Thank you and have a good morning.
Thank you so much to everyone. And with this, we come to the conclusion of this session, Aai and I. Thank you so much for all of you for joining us. You can now proceed for a short 15-minute break, following which we will have a session, another session on Shanti Niketan. All right. Also, for all of those who would be interested in buying Aai and I, all the books are available just outside the Hall of Words. So you can take a look and buy the books as you please.